Clark Gable. William Clark Gable was an American film actor, often referred to as the King of Hollywood. He was one of the most influential and popular actors of his time. Clark Gable had a daughter with Loretta Young, with whom he was having an affair, around 1935. The baby was placed in an orphanage after she was born, and Young ended up going back and adopting her baby 19 months later. Although the girl looked a lot like Gable, he never acknowledged that he was her father. Gable was married 5 times. His daughter, Judy Lewis, was born in 1935 with an affair with actress Loretta Young. In 1961, his 5th wife, Kay Williams, gave birth to his only son, John Clark Gable, 4 months after the actor's demise. Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart had exactly 8 children with other women. The British rock singer and songwriter was knighted at Buckingham Palace. Being a famous artist, he can have just about anything he wants other than parental responsibility. Susanna Boffey and Rod Stewart met at a nightclub and Susanna gave birth to Rod's love child Sarah. Susanna believed that Rod abandoned the baby and her to continue living it up with his rock and roll lifestyle, and Susanna was forced to give up Sarah at the age of 1. Sarah was a sickly child that spent most of her years in foster homes, being adopted by a family at the age of 5, and Stewart was wary of connecting with his daughter mostly because of her adopted parents. Roseanne Barr. Actress and comedian Roseanne Barr is another celebrity who gave her firstborn daughter up for adoption. Her family wasn't very supportive of her pregnancy when she was just 18 years old, so Roseanne decided to give her daughter up for adoption 9 days after Brandy was born. When Brandy had turned 17, Roseanne's career had taken off with the success of her TV series, Roseanne. She was in the spotlight, so the tabloids began to poke and prod at her private life, and exposed that she had given Brandy up for adoption, and had found out where Brandy lived. As a result, Roseanne set out to make things right and meet her daughter. Once the two met, they developed a close relationship, and Brandy even worked for Roseanne for a little while. Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman was a guy that appreciated a good joke, but even though Kaufman was often referred to as a comedian, he liked to remind people that he was a song and dance man, and he was certainly not a family man. It was discovered that Andy had turned away from fatherhood at an early age at the end of his high school career. Andy would turn to parties to make it through school and got his 17-year-old girlfriend Gloria pregnant when he was 19. He then decided to get his life together and attend Junior College in Boston to get an associate in arts and television. While he was at school, his daughter was born and he never got to see the baby. She was put up for adoption and he passed away before she discovered who her biological father was. Joni Mitchell. Joni Mitchell was a 21-year-old art school student in Canada when she decided adoption was the best choice for her daughter in the mid-60s. According to Marie Claire, the future musical icon was unmarried and had no job, no money and no roof over her head. The child's father, an artist like Mitchell, allegedly fled to California upon hearing the news, and Mitchell reportedly ran away to Toronto, afraid her parents would find out. "I was the only virgin in art school," she said. "I was holding onto this precious thing and stupidly let it go. I got caught out immediately." Mitchell's pain from giving up her baby fueled her music career. Mitchell started playing in coffee shops and eventually moved to New York, where she was discovered by music mogul David Geffen. She finally reconnected with her daughter in 1997, after receiving a letter from a Canadian woman named Cloran Gibb who believed the songwriter was her birth mother. Linda Lovelace. Linda Lovelace was an adult film star, but she didn't feel that she was quite ready to take on the parental responsibilities at a young age. It was discovered that she had an abusive husband who threatened and coerced her into performance. Linda became pregnant at 19 years old and her mother forced her to give up the child for adoption. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein may have been the father of relativity, but it doesn't mean that he wanted to take on the role when it came to parenthood. Einstein was dedicated to his studies and developed a theory of relativity, and he would receive a Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921. Albert Einstein and Maleva Marique had a child in 1902, 1 year before the parents were to be married. Lazaro Einstein was her name, and while Albert worked in Switzerland, Maleva took care of the child in Serbia. Marique would eventually join Albert without the child. It would not be until 1986 when Einstein's secret child was discovered, when letters between himself and Marique surfaced. The name was Cyril, referring to a girl, and hounds are all referring to a boy. The child is first referred to in a letter in 1901 when Einstein showed concern after discovering that she was suffering from scarlet fever. He even writes to Marie that they must quote take precautions so that problems don't arise for her later, which may have referred to giving her up for adoption. Perhaps the most interesting thing to consider though is that we have no idea what happened to the child then.